They said one meeting could end all wars. But that night, it started the bloodiest one. I was there, not as a guest, but as the ghost who watched it burn. Before the world hears the truth, subscribe to Mafia Hidden Dairy, where secrets never die. They just wait to be told. The envelope slid under my door before sunrise. No footsteps, no voice, just the faint scratch of paper against marble. I froze mid-step, coffee steaming in my hand. The crest stamped in black wax hit me like a memory I never asked for. The 5 families. My fingers hesitated on the seal. "You've got to be kidding me," I muttered, tearing it open anyway. Inside, gold lettering, heavy parchment, no signature, just a single sentence. "Your presence is required at the Summit of 5. Tomorrow, noon." I stared at the words until they blurred. They finally remembered I exist. The last time I saw that crest was the night my father bled out on the marble floor of his own study, betrayed by his council, by them. And by Aiden Cross. The phone buzzed before I could even exhale. "You're early," I said. "Don't go." Isabella's voice snapped through the line, sharp, breathless. "You know what that invitation means." "I know exactly what it means," I said. "It means they're scared. It means they're cleaning house," she shot back. "And you're on the list." Her voice always carried that quiet panic, calm enough to sound professional, desperate enough to sound real. I leaned against the counter, watching dawn pour through the blinds. "You forget his," I said, half smiling. "They already tried to kill me once." "Didn't work then." "Won't now. You think this is a game?" "I think it's my turn." A long pause. I could hear her exhale, the kind of sigh that carried both regret and warning. "Then take this," she whispered. "A name. Whose?" "Lydia." The world stopped. My sister's name shouldn't have been part of this. "Say that again," I said slowly. "She signed your invitation." The call ended before I could speak. I dropped the phone. My pulse hit my throat like a drum. Lydia. The one person I trusted after everything fell apart. Signing something that came from them. I went still. The air felt heavier than the silence. By noon I was in the garage, the envelope folded neatly in my jacket. The car engine purred beneath me like a sleeping animal waiting to wake. I'd spent years keeping my head down, rebuilding under fake names and silent deals. Now they wanted me back in the open. "Smart move," I whispered to the mirror. "Invite the ghost you buried." The drive along the coast was blinding, sunlight spilling over cliffs, waves slamming against rocks. Everything looked alive except me. My mind kept replaying that single word. Lydia. When we were kids, she'd braid her hair and steal Father's cigars just to make me laugh. She swore we'd never turn into them, never wear their suits, never talk in codes. And now her name was on that letter. Halfway there, my phone buzzed again. An unknown number. "Talk," I said. A distorted voice answered, male, calm. "Turn around. The meeting isn't for you." "Then who's it for?" A pause. Then, "It's about you." The line went dead. I pulled over, heart pounding. The horizon stretched endless ahead, sea and sky, both too blue to trust. I almost laughed. "Of course it's about me," I whispered. "It always is." When I reached the villa, the sun was melting into gold. Marble steps glowed like embers. 2 guards stood by the gates, their suits crisp, their expressions carved from stone. One of them scanned my ID and nodded. "Welcome back, sir." The way he said it, "back," made my stomach tighten. Inside, the air smelled of cigars and power. Long corridors, oil paintings, shadows that watched. I walked through them like a ghost revisiting his own grave. A familiar voice cut through the silence. "You actually came." I turned. Aiden Cross leaned against a marble column, smirk intact. Same tailored arrogance. Same eyes that once promised loyalty before they pulled the trigger. "Wouldn't miss it," I said. He smiled. "Still alive? Impressive? Disappointed? Surprised?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Don't look so shocked. You were always predictable. Show up when pride outweighs fear." I met his gaze. "And you were always loud when you're hiding something." For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence between us felt like a battlefield. Then he grinned. "You'll see. Things have changed. The families are restructured." "Replaced, you mean?" He shrugged. "Call it evolution. And Lydia?" I asked. His smirk faltered for half a second. barely noticeable, but enough. You'll see her soon. He walked away, leaving his words to burn in the air. I found my seat in a small side room away from the main hall. A servant poured whiskey, then slipped me a folded note on the tray. My hands tightened as I opened it. Don't trust anyone. Not even her. No signature. Just the faint scent of lavender, Isabella's perfume. I closed my eyes. My heart felt like a ticking clock. I didn't need more warnings. I already knew. The families didn't invite me for peace. Aiden didn't want reconciliation. Lydia didn't want reunion. Every road led to the same place. The letter. The phone calls. The warnings. The silences. They weren't leading me to something. They were leading me back. And as the sound of footsteps echoed toward the room, I finally understood. This wasn't about diplomacy, alliances, or bloodlines. It was about me. The fortress rose out of the cliffs like it was built to intimidate God himself, all glass and marble, the kind of place where people pretended peace existed just long enough to pull a trigger. I stepped inside, and every sound, heels, whispers, doors, echoed like a warning. The guard scanned everyone twice. No one smiled. The summit room stretched wide with a single oval table at the center. 5 leather chairs, 1 for each family. I ran my hand along the back of mine, the engraved crest of my father's house still sharp under my fingertips. It felt colder than I remembered. The first to enter was Vincent Hale. Old money, older grudges. You look alive, he said, his voice half amusement, half threat. Try not to sound disappointed, I replied. He chuckled, lighting a cigar. Disappointment implies expectations. Then came the Rossetti twins, all style and poison. Their matching smiles were rehearsed, their eyes anything but friendly. We thought you'd never show, Alara Rossetti said, brushing invisible dust off her sleeve. You always underestimate me, I said. That's your favorite mistake. Before she could answer, the doors opened again, and the air changed. Aiden Cross walked in like he owned gravity. And beside him, her hand looped around his arm. Lydia, my heart, didn't just stop. It folded in on itself. Her hair was shorter, her eyes harder, her smile gone. Brother, she said softly. Lydia. My voice cracked, but I didn't care. Didn't think betrayal came with a dress code. Aiden grinned. Careful, family reunions tend to get messy. Only when you're invited, I shot back. He leaned closer, just enough for me to smell the arrogance. You were always the sentimental one. That's why you lost everything. And you, I said, were always the coward hiding behind someone else's name. The tension crackled, heavy enough to choke on. Vincent exhaled smoke and muttered, And they call this a peace summit. Peace, I said, forcing a laugh. That's just the appetizer. The lights dimmed slightly as another door opened. Isabella stepped in, sleek black suit, no smile, no warmth. The so-called neutral delegate. But when our eyes met, something flickered. Familiarity, regret, maybe fear. Mr. Cross. She greeted Aiden first, her voice cool. Miss Lydia. Then she turned to me. Mr. Hale. Didn't expect to see you here, I said quietly. You're not the only ghost they've resurrected. Her tone was calm, but her fingers tightened around her folder. Whatever she was hiding, it wasn't peace. Vincent tapped the table. Shall we begin before one of you starts bleeding? The guards shut the doors. 5 chairs. 5 families. The 5 thrones. Let's address the obvious. Aiden began, leaning forward. The balance of power died with the old guard. We need new terms, new control, new liars? I interrupted. He smiled. You always did love the sound of your own self-righteousness. I learned it watching you, I said. Vincent raised a brow. Gentlemen, please. If you're going to kill each other, at least wait until dessert. Alara Rossetti smirked. No one here came for dessert, Vincent. We came for dominance. And what about you? I asked her. You bring poison or perfume this time? Depends who's breathing near me. The laughter around the table sounded like knives clinking together. Then Lydia spoke, her voice steady, colder than I remembered. We're not here to settle old scores. We're here to redefine who leads. The world's changing. We adapt or we die. I stared at her. You sound just like him. She didn't flinch. Maybe because he's right? My hands curled into fists. He's the reason our father's dead. Father was weak, Aiden said simply. He played by rules that don't exist anymore. I rose slightly, my chair scraping back. Say that again. Sit down, Lydia ordered. Not pleaded, not begged, ordered, and somehow I did. For the next hour, words replaced bullets. Threats disguised as negotiations, smiles sharpened into blades. I stayed quiet, listening, learning, each sentence revealing where the cracks were. Vincent wanted money. The Rossettis wanted distribution. Aiden wanted control. Lydia. I couldn't read her at all. Finally, Isabella stood. You're all circling the same fire, she said. But you've forgotten the smoke. Someone's been watching this meeting, recording it. The room went silent. What? Aiden snapped. Who? Vincent demanded. She placed her tablet on the table, pressing play. The static filled the room, followed by a voice. Male, calm, too familiar. If they kill each other before midnight, the throne is mine. It was Aiden's voice. He froze. That's not fake, I cut in. Doesn't sound fake. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. The room erupted. Vincent shouted. Alara demanded answers. Lydia's face turned pale. Aiden reached for his phone, but guards already blocked the exits. Looks like someone wanted you gone, Cross, I said. He glared at me. You think I'd be stupid enough to say that on tape? Yes, I said simply. Lydia stepped between us. Enough. We can't fall apart now, but the damage was done. The families were unraveling faster than any plan could fix. I leaned back in my chair, letting the chaos play out. Arguments, denial, accusations. My heartbeat slowed, my mind sharpened. Peace? No. This was the first spark, and in the middle of it, I noticed something. One of the chairs, slightly darker, carved deeper, its wood scorched near the edge. A mark burned into it, faint but real. A curse. I ran my fingers over it as everyone screamed around me. 5 chairs, I whispered. One already cursed. The night bled into the villa like a slow heartbeat. Heavy, deliberate, dangerous. The sea outside whispered against the cliffs, but inside, silence had its own echo. We were no longer guests. We were wolves circling the same kill. Aiden stood at the head of the glass table, his reflection fractured by the light above. Let's make this simple, he said. 5 families, 1 syndicate. No borders, no backstabbing. We move as one, stronger, richer, untouchable. I leaned back, swirling the wine in my glass. You make it sound holy, he smiled. I'm offering salvation. And what's the price? Loyalty, he said. To me? Laughter broke from Vincent Hale like gravel scraping metal. You? Lead us? You barely lead your own conscience. Aiden's eyes cut through the smoke. I lead results. You lead nostalgia. Vincent stood, veins pressing against his neck. Watch your tongue, boy. Sit down, Aiden said, voice calm but cold. Before someone remembers how easily you break, I smirked. He's right about one thing, Vincent. You do break easily. Aiden's gaze flicked to me. Funny how you defend me when it suits your plan. Who says I'm defending anyone? I said, eyes fixed on Lydia. She avoided my stare. Don't start this again, she whispered. Start? You think this ever stopped? Her lips parted, but no words came. Aiden placed a hand on her arm, possessive, deliberate. The gesture burned hotter than fire. The meeting dragged into quiet chaos. Deals whispered behind closed doors, promises traded like bullets. Every corridor smelled of ambition and deceit. Isabella found me near the terrace, her heels echoing softly. You shouldn't linger, she said. I like the view. She glanced at the horizon. It's all smoke and mirrors here, like us. She hesitated, then reached into her pocket. Take this, a small flash drive, silver, cold against my palm. What's on it? Enough to burn every family alive, she said. Including yours. I tightened my grip. Why give it to me? Because I still remember who you were, she whispered. Before they buried your name. I looked at her. Same calm eyes, same guilt hiding underneath. And what do you want in return? Nothing, she said.
Except that you survived this. Survival's overrated. Her jaw trembled.
Then make it worth dying for. The next room smelled of leather and whiskey. Gabriel Thorne sat there watching me. Older, sharper, with a smile that never reached his eyes. I was wondering when you'd show, he said. You always did like watching. He poured 2 drinks. So, the ghost returns, I froze. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I do. He slid a glass toward me. You think new clothes and a new name change the blood under your skin? Please, I stared at him. You've got one hell of an imagination, he chuckled. Imagination? You vanished after your father's death, left Aiden to claim your throne, and now you walk into a room full of murderers acting like a diplomat. That's not imagination and that's resurrection. I said nothing. The silence between us was a confession. He leaned closer. You think you came here for peace? His smirk widened. You came to start a war. I left the room with my heartbeat pounding like gunfire. A war. The word tasted familiar, almost comforting. I found Isabella again near the stairs. He knows, I whispered. Gabriel? I nodded. She exhaled. Then you need to move faster. Aiden's meeting with Vincent privately. He's promising him your territory. Typical, I muttered. He can't take what's already burning. Burning? She asked. I smiled faintly. Let's just say I didn't come empty-handed either. I slipped back into the conference hall just as Aiden and Vincent were shaking hands. Gentlemen, I said, interrupting. Forming alliances already, without consulting the table? Aiden turned, voice smooth. Some of us work faster than others. Or dirtier, Vincent sneered. You've got nothing to offer. I held up the flash drive. Then this must be worthless. Lydia's eyes widened. What is that? Truth, I said. The kind people kill for. Aiden's tone hardened. You're bluffing, am I? I placed it on the table. Everything you've stolen, finances, shipments, murder records, every secret that ties you to the agency. It's all here. Vincent's face paled. Agency? Aiden's jaw tightened. You don't know what you're playing with. Neither do you, I said. But I'm learning fast, Lydia whispered. Please don't do this. Don't what? I asked. Expose him? Or destroy him? She looked down. You'll destroy yourself too. Maybe that's the point. The tension cracked like thunder. Gabriel reappeared, hands in pockets, smile sharp. And there it is. The first betrayal of the night. I glared at him. You planned this. He shrugged. I just waited for you to make the first move. Vincent backed away. What's going on here? Aiden smirked, eyes locked on me. You really thought you could outplay me? Not outplay, I said softly. Outlast, Lydia whispered, almost trembling. Stop it, both of you. But it was too late. Aiden grabbed the flash drive. I didn't stop him, because the real one was already gone, hidden in Isabella's jacket. As guards flooded the hall, the alliances dissolved. Shouting erupted, threats flew, and I felt the storm break loose. Gabriel's voice cut through the chaos. You wanted peace, remember? I looked back at him, smiling faintly. No, I wanted revenge. He raised his glass. Then congratulations. The war begins tonight. The night tasted like smoke long before the fire began. You could feel it, the tremor under every voice, the crack of tension between every glance. The villa's glass walls reflected our lies back at us, one flicker at a time. I stood near the bar, watching the families unravel piece by piece. Vincent shouted into his phone. Gabriel whispered to his men. Isabella kept her distance, pretending calm. But Lydia, she was trembling. I could see it in the way her hand hovered over her glass, afraid to drink, afraid to speak. Aiden's losing control, Isabella murmured beside me. Good, I said. He built this house of mirrors. Let him choke on the reflection. She looked at me sharply. Don't sound so sure. People like Aiden don't fall quietly. I'm counting on the noise. The lights flickered once, just once, but long enough to make everyone freeze. Then came the sound. Shattering glass, shouts, and the low hiss of fear. Someone yelled, "Lock the exits!" I didn't move. The chaos was background music, predictable, inevitable. I'd lit the fuse the moment I walked in. Aiden stormed into the hall, rage simmering beneath his smile. Who did it? He demanded. Who planted the data leak? No one answered. Silence pressed against the marble. He turned to me. You think this is your victory? I shrugged. I think it's your reckoning. He laughed, low and bitter. You've always been dramatic. I learned from the best. Lydia appeared behind him, eyes wide. Aiden, stop. Please listen. He didn't even glance at her. What did you do? I found something, she said. It's about him. About the flash drive. My stomach tightened. Lydia, I said quietly, don't. She turned toward me, voice trembling. You lied to me. You said this was just leverage, not war. It was supposed to end clean, I said. But nothing ever ends clean with Aiden. He smirked. Still blaming me for everything? You always needed a villain to make your story sound noble. I stepped closer. You were the villain. You just wore nicer suits. The air between us burned. Around us, guards shouted orders, chairs scraped, footsteps echoed. But all I could hear was my pulse. Lydia reached for Aiden's arm. He's not lying. I saw the files. You sold out the families to Gabriel. Aiden froze, expression unreadable. You shouldn't have looked. I had to know the truth. She cried. You're planning something worse than a deal. His hand lashed out before I could move. Not a hit, but a warning. Fingers closing around her wrist, just hard enough to make her wince. Careful, Lydia, he said softly. You're saying things that end badly. Let her go, I said. Or what? His grin cut through the tension. You'll expose me? You already did. Now we're both standing in the fire you started. I took a step forward. At least I don't hide behind someone I claim to love. His jaw tightened. Love? Don't mistake ownership for affection. Lydia pulled her wrist free, tears cutting through her mask of calm. You used me, she whispered. Both of you did. Her words hit harder than any bullet. I wanted to tell her she was wrong, that I cared once, maybe still did, but the truth burned in my throat. A window shattered across the room. Somewhere a flare lit the night, red light pouring into the chaos like spilled blood. The air filled with shouts and smoke alarms. Get out! Someone screamed, but Aiden didn't move. He faced me, hands shaking, rage finally slipping through the cracks. You think this makes you righteous? Burning down the table? No, I said. It makes me free. You're no better than the rest of us. I never said I was. He took a step closer, voice low. You ruined everything we built. You built it on corpses, I said, including my father's. His eyes flared. Your father was weak. He begged for mercy. Then you should have killed me too, I snapped. I tried. The room went silent, even through the noise outside. That sentence froze everything. Lydia's sob was the only sound left. Aiden, please stop. He turned to her, softer now, almost human. You don't understand, Lydia. I did it for us. There is no us, she whispered. The crack in his composure was instant. His eyes darkened, the calm mask finally gone. You'll regret that. I moved between them. No, Aiden, you will, he glared at me. Always the hero, aren't you? Trying to save someone just to feel less guilty. Maybe, I said. But tonight I'm saving her from you. He tilted his head, almost smiling. And who's saving you from yourself? The alarm screamed louder. Smoke crawled through the ceiling vents, thick and gray. Outside, the sea roared like an audience to our downfall. I could see his hand twitching toward his jacket. Don't, I warned. He smiled. You always talk too much, Lydia gasped, stepping back. Aiden, don't do this. He reached for his gun, and I reached for the truth. Dawn bled across the coastline like a wound that refused to close. The villa stood in silence, half burned, half buried in smoke. Every step I took crunched over shattered glass and scorched marble. The sea below hissed against the cliffs, swallowing what was left of last night's sins. Isabella found me in the courtyard, her hair tangled, her dress blackened at the edges. You should have left hours ago, she said. The families are finished. Aiden's done. You don't owe anyone anything. I owe them the truth, I said quietly. She stared at me. Truth won't save you. It never does. I'm not looking to be saved, she shook her head. Then what are you looking for? Redemption, I said. Or whatever's left of it, her voice cracked. Redemption doesn't exist for people like us, maybe not. But someone has to pay the bill. The sun was rising, pale, indifferent. I walked toward what used to be the study, where smoke still curled from the broken beams. Aiden was there, sitting against the wall, half-conscious, blood crusting on his collar. He looked up as I entered. You finally came back to finish it? No, I said. It's already finished. He laughed weakly. You think leaking those files will cleanse you? You just handed a loaded gun to the world. I handed them the truth. He coughed, a smear of red on his lips. The truth doesn't set people free. It just changes who gets to hold the leash. Maybe. But at least the leash won't be in your hands anymore. You sound righteous, he said bitterly. You forget, your name's in those files too. I didn't forget. He frowned. You confessed? I nodded. Every deal, every bribe, every corpse I helped bury. It's all there. You're insane. Maybe, I said, but it's over. For all of us. He tried to stand, failed, then laughed again. You think you won? I crouched beside him. No, I survived. There's a difference. His eyes flickered with something. Hatred, maybe envy, maybe both. You'll regret this. The world doesn't forgive. I'm not asking it to. Outside, the sound of rotor blades began to echo across the cliffs. Isabella turned toward the horizon, shielding her eyes. You really called them? I called everyone, I said. Interpol, MI6, the Bureau, even the agencies that pretended not to know us. You just detonated the Underworld, she whispered. Good, I said. Let it burn, she grabbed my arm. They'll take you too. I know, her grip tightened. Then run, please. I looked at her, really looked. The exhaustion in her face, the fear in her voice, the faint tremor in her hands. You could come with me, I said. She laughed bitterly. To where? You think there's a place left for ghosts like us? Maybe not, I said. But at least you'd still be breathing. She took a step back, eyes glistening. Breathing isn't the same as living. I stopped living a long time ago. Then what are you doing now? Burying the past, I said. One name at a time. The helicopters were closer now, black dots slicing through the dawn. Papers from the leaked files scattered across the patio like confessions caught in the wind. Isabella whispered, What if they kill you? Then they kill a guilty man. And if they don't? Then I testify. She stared at me as if I'd just said something obscene. You'd turn witness? I tell the truth, I said. The difference doesn't matter anymore. Her lip trembled. You're either brave or suicidal. Maybe both. A deep mechanical thud rolled through the air as the first helicopter hovered above the ruins. Dust and smoke lifted, whipping through the courtyard. Agents in dark uniforms shouted orders, weapons drawn. I raised my hands slowly. One of them yelled, Step away from the woman. Isabella's voice broke through the noise. He's not a threat. I almost laughed. That's debatable. She turned to me, eyes shining. Say something. Tell them you're innocent. I'm not. Then lie. I've done enough of that. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me anymore. You really mean to go through with this? I have to. Why? Because someone has to close the book. The agents surrounded us. Cables from the helicopter whipped through the wind. The villa's last wall collapsed behind us with a roar, sending sparks into the pale morning sky. I turned toward her one last time. Whatever happens next, don't look back. Will I see you again? She asked. Not like this. Her hand lingered in the air, then fell. As they led me toward the landing zone, I could still hear the sea crashing against the rocks below. Relentless. Endless. Aiden's words echoed in my head. The truth doesn't set people free. Maybe he was right. But as the cuffs clicked around my wrists, I felt lighter than I had in years. The wind from the helicopter drowned out everything else. I lifted my face toward the sunrise and whispered to myself, barely audible over the noise, I didn't win. I survived. The screen of my phone, cracked, half-burned, and flickered one last time as the feed uploaded. The footage, the files, the recordings, everything I'd collected over the years, streamed across networks faster than anyone could stop it. Somewhere, a headline would be writing itself. The commission falls. Leaked evidence destroys global crime syndicate. And in that moment, as the helicopters carried me away from the ashes, I realized something brutal and simple. This wasn't victory. It was erasure. That meeting didn't change the underworld. It buried it. And if you want to know who walked away from the ashes, subscribe to Mafia Hidden Dairy, where the truth always bleeds through.